Hey, what's up guys? Mayne here. This is the 15th episode of the Whiteboard series. This video is about when not to take a trade. Every video in this series so far has been focused on what to look for to get into trades. This video is the exact opposite, and it might be the most important one in this entire series. Your edge is a filter, not just for good trades, but for bad trades, trades you want to avoid as well. The difference between a profitable trader and an average trader is their ability to filter out bad trades. So we're going to talk about all that and more. Let's get into it. Let's start this video with some framing. Every day when you open up your computer, you're bombarded with information, right? Tons of info. So you open up, right, your charts. Okay, you're on X, you're on Instagram, and you're getting tons and tons of information about maybe longs or shorts, right? Maybe someone's talking about a stock or a meme coin, right? Whatever it is. You're getting all of this info, and it is competing for your risk and your attention, right? Now, the thing most people don't realize, and hopefully you do by now if you've been following me, is both of these things are finite. The vast majority of the things that you see online, whether it's your own ideas in the charts or stuff you see in social media, is not worth neither your risk or attention. And both these things are finite. You only have so much risk that you can put on in a single trade if you're using proper risk management. You only have so much risk that you should be willing to have exposed to the market in general based on your entire portfolio. Your attention is no different. One of the most common pitfalls for early traders is information overload. They get on social media, they see one person talking about a meme coin, this person's long, this person's short, they're looking at 45 different tickers, and if they're even able to make a decision, their attention is so spread out, they're not focused enough to actually execute a plan. They got too many things going on. You're trying to juggle too many balls at the same time. If you watch me post on social media and trade, I'm primarily trading like Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, maybe Hyperliquid. That's it. My attention is finite, and the risk I'm willing to give to any particular setup is also finite. So what do you have to do? You have to be selective. So to be selective, that means you have to have filters in place to help you parse through all of the different information, the setups, the assets, the trade ideas, and figure out which ones are worth your risk and your attention, because these are two finite resources. So we've talked about how to be selective already in this series. We have checklists for the 5-minute model, the 15-minute model, top-down analysis, things that you need to see happen in order to get into a setup. You don't just take every 5-minute model, you have a checklist that makes you selective, so you're only taking specific 5-minute models. This is no different when it comes to trades not to take. So I'm gonna give you 7 disqualifiers that you can go through, and if any of those things are happening, you have no trade. Now, I wanna add one quick caveat here. This is a beginner-centric video series. Everything we've shared in this series is meant for people who are new, trying to learn price action, smart money concepts. Obviously, as you get more advanced, more discretion will come into your trades. And maybe you're able to skip some of the steps in these checklists. If you remember from last episode, I talked about a long that I took, even though we're in a downtrend, it was a counter trend long. Well, according to some of the checklists that we've gone through and some of the ones in this video, that's not a trade you should take. I've been doing this for 10 years, so I've earned the ability to be a little bit more subjective and discretionary with my trading. But early on, I want you to be as robotic and mechanical as possible. If any of these 7 disqualifiers are there, you have no trade. With that being said, let's get into the list. Can anyone guess what the first one is? It's the most important one, and it's also, in my opinion, the easiest. No high time frame bias. If you cannot almost immediately tell whether the weekly, daily, or whatever you're using for the high time frame is bullish or bearish, you have no trade. If there's no clear and obvious high time frame bias, you have no trade. Now, if the high time frame is ranging, Longs can work, shorts can work, but it's kind of more like a coin flip. It's not high probability. This entire video series is built around finding high probability trading opportunities where the deck is stacked in your favor. If you have no high time frame bias, the probability is low, the deck is not stacked in your favor, so you have no trade. Number 2, price is in the wrong zone. So what do I mean by this? Well, obviously we're talking about our premium and discount. So in our dealing range, you have your 50%, below is the discount, above is the premium. So when we're looking for longs, we want a long in a discount. When we're looking for shorts, we want a short in a premium. If price is in the wrong range, it doesn't mean a long in the premium can't work, but just like point 1, it's less probable. That's not what we're looking for. That's not what we're focused on. We're waiting for price to come where we want to trade it. So if price is in the wrong zone, if you're bullish and price isn't in the discount, no trade. If you're bearish, price isn't in the premium, no trade. So you either sit out completely or wait for price to get to your zone, and then you have a setup. So it requires a little bit of patience, but if price is in the wrong zone, you have no trade. Number 3 is no clear liquidity target. Okay, so no clear lick, or the math doesn't work. So what do I mean by this? Well, when we have a trade that we're looking for, just as important as it is to know where you're entering, you need to know where the trade's going. Where are you targeting? So if you have a dealing range here, what's at the top of the dealing range? External range liquidity. What's inside the dealing range, right? Internal range liquidity. So maybe it's in the form of that order block there. So when price comes in and gives you your setup, okay, we just took out internal range liquidity. We have equal highs here. And the next target is going to be maybe that external liquidity at the range high. So we have clear liquidity that we're targeting in line with our high time frame bias and all that other stuff. So there's no clear liquidity that we're targeting. We just took out the highs and lows. Price is in the middle of the range. You don't have an obvious area to target for your trade. There is no trade. Where the trade is going is just as important as where the stop is and where the entry is. You need to know where we're going. So if there's no clear liquidity, there is no trade. Now, when I say the math doesn't work, that means let's say the liquidity that you're aiming for is right here, okay? And your entry is here. Well, based on your setup, your stop loss is there, your target's there. Let's say your stop loss distance is 10 points and your target is only 10 points. That is a 1-to-1 risk reward trade. Your stop is 10 points away, your target is 10 points away. That math does not work. We aim for a minimum of 2-to-1. Now, like I've said many times before, this can change as you get better at trading, more discretionary, you make your edge your own. But for what I'm teaching you, for my system, I aim for a minimum of 2-to-1. Meaning for every $2 that I make, I'm risking $1. So if my stop loss is 10 points away, my target has to be at least 20 points away for me to get a 2-to-1 and for the math to work. So you might have a liquidity target, but if the math doesn't work, it doesn't give you at least a 2-to-1 reward to risk, you have no trade. So that's number 3. There's either no clear liquidity target or there is a liquidity target, but the math doesn't work. Number 4 is your model did not fully trigger. The key word here is fully. Just like this is the checklist, and I've given you checklists for top-down analysis and the entry models, it has multiple parts. And I always say everything has to happen in order. So price has to reach your high time frame zone, right? And you need to have that clue. Is the H1 bullish now? Is the H4 bullish now? And I'm now going to look for the model on the low time frame. Then you need to see the market structure break. Then you need to see displacement through that market structure break with the fair value gap being formed. And then you need to wait for the retrace to the fair value gap for your actual entry. This needs to happen in order. So if the model doesn't fully trigger, that means you're skipping one of these steps. Maybe you're entering before the high time frame zone. No trade. Maybe you're entering at the high time frame zone, but there hasn't been a market structure break yet. So you enter anyways. Boom, no market structure break. You didn't wait. You took a bad trade. The model has to play out fully before you consider taking a trade. So if it doesn't fully trigger, if you're skipping one of the steps, that is a disqualifier. You have no trade. Number 5, this is one I'm sure many of you are guilty of. You're chasing. We do not chase price. Everything I've taught you in this video is about waiting for price to come to where we want to do business, where we think it's most probable that a trade setup is going to form. And that means no chasing. So what can this look like? Well, let's say you have your entry model here and you get that big displacement move. There's your fair value gap and it never comes back and fills you. Guess what? No trade. We don't chase. Our entry was here. So if you don't get that fill, there's no trade. There's no setup. What's another example of this happening? Well, price comes down to your level. Maybe it's a big order block and then the move's already started. And you go, okay, well, I'm just going to chase it here. And then it comes down here. And then what happens? You've now in the negative. You now close at a loss. And then it bounces. And you're like, oh, I would have been right. You longed it again more. You end up losing money and chopping yourself to bits. We don't chase. So if the trade has already happened and you missed the entry, right? You came to the computer too late. You didn't see it in time. We don't chase. There's no trade. If price forms your entry setup and you're watching it, but it doesn't give you your model, it doesn't tag the fair value gap or the order block or the breaker block, we do not chase. We do business where we want to do business. We don't chase price. So if you're chasing price, that's a disqualifier. Should be no trade. Number 6 is the news. Okay. Most people who are trading in and around news events are completely gambling. So I'm talking things like CPI, FOMC, non-farm payroll. Maybe it's an earnings call. Okay. Oftentimes during the news, you're going to get both sides of the range run before the actual move happens. And they wash out everyone who's basically gambling, trying to play the news. Now, we'll touch on news trading a little bit later in this series. There's some strategies around it, but for the most part, just sit out. Wait, let the dust settle. Let the market actually tell you what it's going to do rather than trying to trade this concentrated, volatile event. More often than not, you're going to get screwed over. You're going to get stopped out, wicked out before the actual move happens because you're trying to trade the news. If you remember from a prior video, we showed an example of NVIDIA beating earnings. It pumped quite briefly after beating earnings. That pump, well, it beat earnings. It should go up. Everyone bought, and then the market actually sold off after running stops, trapping a bunch of longs, and then the actual up move happened. So earnings was used to take out liquidity of people chasing the market, trying to trade the news. So we don't trade the news. I almost never trade any sort of news events or any sort of earnings. I just wait. I let it happen. I see what price is doing, how the market's absorbing that news. Then I step in. Then I actually look for my setups. So trading during, before, right after the news, generally not a good idea. It's a disqualifier. All right, the last but certainly not least, something that many of you probably hate to admit or don't even realize, you are an emotional little creature. You get angry, you get sad, you get grumpy, you feel greed, you feel fear, you feel FOMO. If you're feeling these emotions, you should not be taking a trade. This is as big of a filter, as big of a disqualifier, in my opinion, is point number 1, which is just no high time frame buys. You just lost a couple trades in a row. You're like, I got to get back in the market. I got to make this money back. You are revenge trading. You're on tilt. You're going to make a mistake that you wouldn't normally make. You see everyone posting online about a setup, a coin that you're not in. You're going to feel FOMO. You're going to do something dumb. You're going to react emotionally, you're going to make a mistake, and you're probably going to end up losing money. So if you're feeling emotions, anger, fear, FOMO, greed, you should not be trading. You had a bad sleep. You had a fight with your significant other. When you're feeling emotional, it will affect your trading. Our goal is to be as objective and robotic as possible. When you're emotional, that's a lot harder to do. The easiest analogy for this is if you ever get in a fight with your significant other or a friend or your parents and you're angry, and in the moment you say something you don't mean. And then once the emotions have settled down, you go, man, I wish I hadn't have said that. I didn't really mean that. Trading is no different. If you're angry, frustrated, feeling fearful or greedy, you're gonna make emotional decisions that cause you to skip this entire checklist and all the other checklists, and you're gonna react emotionally, and it usually leads to bad outcomes, okay? So emotions is the 7th disqualifier. So quickly to summarize here, what are these 7 disqualifiers? No high time frame bias. Is it clear and obvious whether the high time frame is going up or down? Again, yes or no, okay? Number 2, price is in the wrong zone. If we're bullish, we want to be in a discount. If we're bearish, we want to be in a premium. That's it. Number 3, there's no clear liquidity or the math doesn't work. So we're not getting at least 2 to 1, right? Or there's no clear liquidity target at all, no trade. Number 4, you're skipping something in your model. The market structure break didn't happen. There was no fair value gap. If you're skipping something in the model, it doesn't fully trigger, no trade. Number 5, you're chasing. The entry already happened or it never came. You're front running your zone. You're chasing, no trade. That's a disqualifier. Number 6, try not to trade around news. Usually doesn't end so well. That's a disqualifier. So if there's CPI, FOMC, etc., just sit out for the day. And number 7, if you're emotional, you should be avoiding trading. If you're angry, you're sleepy, you're tired, you're feeling revengeful, you're feeling like you're on tilt, close the computer, come back tomorrow. The market will still be there, but if you trade emotionally, your money might not. Now, there's a pattern between these 7 things, and it's very similar to other things I've talked about in this video series. These are all simple, clear, and obvious triggers. You should be able to tell immediately if any of these 7 things are happening and disqualify trades right away. It should not require a long argument with yourself or any sort of deliberation. If you can't tell what the high time frame bias is right away and you're like, maybe, I don't know, there isn't a clear high time frame bias, so there's no trade. If you're like, well, you know what, it came just close enough to the zone, I'm just gonna enter anyways, you're chasing, no trade. Okay, well in this instance, I'm not gonna wait for the market structure break because I'm pretty confident it's gonna happen. Your model didn't fully trigger, no trade. So these things should be clear and obvious. Just like in the order block fair value gap video, it should be clear and obvious what you're looking for. Does the order block make more sense? Does the fair value gap make more sense? Is this a liquidity sweep or not? Is this a fair value gap or not? These things are clear and obvious and almost visual. So if you're arguing, deliberating any of these things, good chance that there is a disqualifier here that you're trying to avoid and you shouldn't be taking that trade. So what are the key takeaways? Number 1 is your edge is a filter, okay? Most people only look at and review the trades that they won or lost, but there's a whole category of trades that you actually didn't take at all, and your edge using lists like this will help you filter those out. It's gonna save you money. It's gonna help you avoid mistakes, okay? So it's just as important to know trades that you're avoiding because they get filtered out by your edge. Number 2 is you have 7 disqualifiers here. We just went over all of them. If any of those trigger, you have no trade. So go through that list, make sure none of them trigger before you enter a trade. It's gonna filter out a ton of bad setups. And number 3, there should be no discussion around the 7 disqualifiers. If for any reason at all, you're arguing with yourself about whether or not this trade should be disqualified, it probably should be disqualified. When in doubt, don't, okay? So you got the 7 things, your edge is gonna be a filter, thanks to the help of those 7 things, and they should be clear and obvious. It shouldn't require a lawyer and an argument to figure out whether or not you're chasing a trade or you don't have a high time frame bias. All right, guys, that's all I got for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I know it was a short one, but it's super important to know when to stay out of the market. In episode 16, we're gonna be getting into an entire risk management framework, where to place your stop, how to take profits, how to set up your RR so you don't have to win every trade and you can still be profitable. It's gonna be a great video. As always, if you appreciate these, let me know in the comments, share these, like, subscribe, retweet, share on Twitter, all over the place. Follow me on all my socials. Go to tradermayne.com if you want my free newsletter, my free Telegram, my free Discord. And as always, you can use code MAYNE at Breakout for a discount when you check out. I will talk to you guys in episode 16. See you later.